what is really going on with Top Thrill Dragster. We're here to look at the facts and get to the bottom of it. But before we do any of that, we have to go back to the beginning. It was late in the season, 2002, when people started to see construction going on and what was obviously... Okay, obviously we don't have to go that far back. As far back as we need to go is to 2021, whenever the woman was struck in line by an L-shaped bracket that flew off of, I think it was called a flag plate or something like that. Flew off when a train was coming into the brake run and struck a woman in the head. So that accident shut down Top Thrill Dragster from that date, and still October 1st, 2022, still has not reopened. So from the accident on until maybe like April, we didn't hear anything about Top Thrill Dragster.
No, there was absolutely nothing. The park was completely silent about it. People were thinking all sorts of things, but nobody knew. Nothing was said.
Yeah, so the first thing that was actually said about Top Thrill Dragster was whenever the state of Ohio came out with their report saying that Cedar Point was not found responsible for what happened to Top Thrill Dragster. Now, getting into some of our early opinions. Whenever this accident first happened, we put out a video about, well, we were responding to a lot of people saying it's going to be torn down for sure because of this accident. No way that a ride that hurt someone could stay open. We put out a video talking about numerous rides that are open to this day that have even had fatalities. At that point, we both said Top Thrill Dragster will remain open. Then I started thinking a little bit more. I started thinking, okay, Richard Kinzel, he was a CEO for quite a few years. He was the CEO of Cedar Fair, and he was responsible for Magnum, Top Thrill Dragster, Millennium, Maverick. He was the person that basically started the coaster wars.
Started all the big coasters that, changed the amusement park industry that you know and love.
So Cedar Point wouldn't be what it is today without Richard Kinzel. So Richard Kinzel has gone on record numerous times saying that his biggest mistake was Top Thrill Dragster. Now, if Richard Kinzel, someone that loves breaking records, someone that loves taller, faster, steeper, he loves all that stuff, if he even said it was a huge mistake, then I started thinking the new CEO, Richard Zimmerman, who I refer to as the wrong Richard, I figured this guy doesn't care about roller coasters at all. I used to say that he was very budget-minded, and he was borderline cheap, but I think I step back on that a bit.
He's not. He's just putting money. They're putting money in towards other stuff and not roller coasters, such as restaurants, scenery, stuff like that.
So, and the parades have to cost a lot of money. So I really don't want to say that he's cheap, but like you said, he's allocating money
towards
into different places.
Stuff,
So, but either way, money towards the upkeep for Top Thrill Dragster, which has been known as the most expensive roller coaster per rider. Cedar Fair looks at the costs of their rides per rider, and that's how they gauge exactly what rides they might keep or get rid of or change or do something to. And Top Thrill Dragster, for the longest time, has been the most expensive ride per rider at Cedar Point, and possibly even in the entire Cedar Fair.
Maybe.
I looked at that and I said, okay, are they going to want to have that maintenance nightmare, that upkeep cost? Are they going to want to keep that with this perfect excuse to get rid of it? So I started shifting my thoughts into it's going bye-bye.
You did. I never thought that. I always thought from whenever they closed the ride after the accident that it is going to remain open.
The thing that made me change my mind and the thing that caused us to do a video, breaking news, Top Thrill Dragster is staying open, is the announcement for the brand new boardwalk. Tony Clark specifically said, as we were watching it, I caught this immediately, he said, Wild Mouse will be our 18th roller coaster. And for Wild Mouse to be the 18th roller coaster, Top Thrill Dragster or something that is the same thing as Top Thrill
Yeah.
Dragster, has to stay in operation. Now, Tony Clark is no dummy. He specifically says things
Yeah,
for specific reasons.
Yeah, he likes to give hints, get people talking, get speculation going, stuff like that.
Yeah, he said 18th roller coaster on purpose. He didn't slip and say it. He didn't say it on accident.
No.
They wrote that and they figured out that he's saying 18th roller coaster, and that was his hint and Cedar Point's way of saying, hey, Top Thrill Dragster is staying. So then fast forward to September 6th, 2022, and Cedar Point puts out the infamous press release.
Yeah, it's blah blah. You've seen it a million times.
Yeah. So at this point, they put out the press release, said Top Thrill Dragster, as you know it,
is being retired, but our team is hard at work creating a new and reimagined ride experience.
Yeah. So that confirmed that it was staying.
Yes, and there are a lot of people that are saying, "Oh no, Top Thrill Dragster is closing." They said in there. If you are one of those people, it's not closing. They said Top Thrill Dragster as you know it, like the Top Thrill Dragster that you think of with the race car theme and the name Top Thrill Dragster. Like that, that's being retired.
Yeah.
But they're changing the ride. It's a reimagined ride experience, so it's going to change a little bit, but Top Thrill Dragster is not going to be torn down. It is not. They confirmed it.
What we're going to do in this video is 99% fact, and any opinions that we have from this video is going to be based off of
the facts.
Based off of facts and be very educated guesses. Now, can those educated guesses be wrong?
Absolutely, but they're educated guesses, so they probably will be right.
Yes. So we're looking at reimagined experience. So all these people, all these YouTube channels and everything are going crazy. Okay, reimagined experience. So are we putting a spike?
Yeah.
Are we putting inversions after
changing
the
the layout, airtime hills, inversions. Are they going to make the top hat 500 feet? Are they going to make the top hat inverted or something? I don't know. People are going crazy. Reimagined ride experience. They're changing the ride. What could it be?
And I get why people would think reimagined ride experience. I get why people would think like, hey, you know what? If Cedar Point is saying this, then it's got to change more than what definitely seems to be the most drastic change being the launch system. So changing from a hydraulic launch to an LSM launch is what seems to be the consensus of what they're going to do at this point. But is people are saying, is that enough? Is that enough? And even I was thinking that at first. Even I was thinking, and we both were thinking, okay, is that enough? And you started saying maybe tunnels.
Yeah,
maybe
I think,
tunnels somewhere.
they might, I mean, a re-theme, a rename, a new launch, some tunnels, some extra theming in the queue, maybe some theming in the tunnels, stuff like that. New trains, possibly. I think that is enough.
Let's get to the facts here. Now, let's take a step back.
So, the big question is, why aren't they adding huge inversions and doing all this stuff?
Yeah, well, let's first go even further back and talk about why they're even doing this. And that will get into the whole inversion.
Why are they reimagining the ride?
Why are they doing anything? Okay, so like I said, Richard Kinzel even thought that this was a big mistake because it was such a money pit. Cedar Point, for the longest time, has thought that this was a money pit and a bad idea, but it was such a popular ride. People love it so much. It's such a huge impact on the skyline. They couldn't just get rid of Top Thrill Dragster.
No.
And once LSMs started, because back whenever Top Thrill Dragster was built, they originally planned on doing LSMs. But what they were going to do is make the track longer, and they were going to take out Gemini. And the top hat was going to be around where Gemini is right now. And the LSMs were going to take you down a longer launch track and then over the top hat. Because back then you needed that much space in order to get over a 420-foot hill. In comes Intamin with their grandiose idea of an
hydraulic
launch.
Getting a train up to speed faster, so they don't need all that extra land to get it up to speed.
Yeah, so they saved Gemini. By saving Gemini, it has also, like we said a million times now, cost them a boat ton of money. And now, fast forward back to the injury with this woman and Cedar Point. I fully believe they felt like they couldn't justify before that. They couldn't justify shutting down the ride for a full year or however long it would take to do all the work. And changing the ride experience and making the launch less forceful, which is what people, like one of the reasons that people love the ride so much.
Because the launch is so forceful.
People would be like, okay, well, why are you doing this? Oh, we're doing it to save money.
Yeah, that just wouldn't go well with the public, and it would give Cedar Point a bad look.
So Cedar Point bit the bullet and operated it for 18 years or whatever until that accident. Not at all saying that Cedar Fair would be happy that this accident happened. They would much prefer this accident to have never happened, obviously. But when the accident did happen and they had to close down for state inspections, the ride was going to be closed down anyway, and they looked at this, hey, this is our opportunity to do what we wanted to do.
Yeah, and it makes sense because they're closing the ride because of the accident, and they say that, and then it makes sense with the public, but it's really not true. The ride closing really does not have anything to do with the accident.
This year, 2022, the inspections weren't done until April, and then they would have had a bunch of maintenance stuff to do. And so even if they wanted to open Top Thrill Dragster as it is, like who knows how long it would have taken for them to do all their off-season work and get it open for 2022. They may have just, even without this new idea, may have just scrapped it for 2022 anyway and just opened it for 2023.
Yeah.
Just like Top Thrill Dragster's always been with the hydraulic launch and that. This whole thing has nothing to do with the accident.
It's just reliability, and adding LSM launches is going to make Top Thrill Dragster more reliable.
It's going to cut down maintenance costs a ton. And getting to the people that think there's going to be all these crazy element changes and there's going to be all this stuff.
That's not why they're changing it. They're not changing the ride to make some huge new ride.
And their whole point of this is to cut costs. Now, Top Thrill Dragster, just how it was, had a huge line and everyone loved it. So why change anything about it?
Exactly.
So, everyone that's saying that the layout's going to change, I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense because the layout isn't. Remember, this whole change is happening because of maintenance. Now, the layout was never the issue. The issue was never ride attendance.
No.
It was never that no one wanted to ride it, so now they got to change it in order to make it more appealing for people.
Yeah, everybody rode it. It was a lot of people's favorite ride. People love it. It always had long lines. Ridership was not an issue.
Whenever Top Thrill Dragster would break down all the time, and you'd be standing in line for an hour, and then they're like, oh, Top Thrill Dragster is down for maintenance issues, blah, blah, blah. And you heard that. It was because something was going on with the launch. None of this is 100% factual. We can't say for certain what's going to happen.
No, we don't work at Cedar Point.
Anything can happen, but I like to make sense.
Yeah.
I like to completely make sense. Now,
reasonably.
It's fun. It's very fun to think what ifs.
Yeah, what if, yeah.
Could this happen? Could that happen? And that's a lot of fun. And make animations of different rides and different things. That's good for fun, and that's good for views on YouTube channels and stuff like that.
And then if you go on No Limits or something and make Dragster but add all this stuff, that can be fun, but it's just not actually going to happen.
Yeah, so that is, I guess, all we really need to say. I guess the only thing left is when would it reopen? Now, work, as people keeping up with this know, work has been happening. Work's been happening well before the 6th.
Yeah, remember when
the wall went up and everything?
Yeah, they're tearing out some bushes to make room for some of the
cranes
and stuff. Yeah, they've been working on this for a while now. So yeah, when is it going to open? A lot of people are thinking it's going to open. It's kind of split between 2023 and 2024.
Personally, I believe 2023.
Yeah.
I don't see any reason. They build entire roller coasters.
Yeah, I mean, they built Top Thrill Dragster in just a winter, so just changing the launch and changing the theme and adding stuff, how is that going to take more time than everything else?
Yeah, it's not. Even if they were doing different elements and stuff like that, I think it would still be done by 2023. So I think Top Thrill Dragster will be open in 2023. Now, when will they announce it? They put out the press release only because they had to, because they were putting up the wall and starting to do a lot of work.
So people were gonna, of course, go crazy if there was a wall around Top Thrill Dragster. So they had to put out something.
If you saw all the track that's missing right now, and you saw workers and you saw all this stuff happening,
people would be
rumors would be going
out
crazier than they're going right now. So they had to put out that press release. The next press release announcing what will actually happen to Top Thrill Dragster, the new LSMs, I personally think they're going to wait till after Halloween.
Oh, I think it's going to be well into the off season.
Oh, you think well into the off season?
Yeah, I think it's gonna. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a ways away. I think we're gonna be sitting here, talking about this and speculating for a while now.
My personal opinion is I think it's going to be a little bit closer to the end of Halloween. I was even about to say that I think that there's a slight chance that before Halloween is over, they release the information.
Yeah, I just can't see that.
But that's it. That's the breakdown. What is really happening with Top Thrill Dragster.
If you wanted to ride Top Thrill Dragster for the longest time and you couldn't before, now you're like, oh my god, I want to ride Dragster. Well, you still will be able to.
Yeah, you'll still be able to ride it. But that's it for this video. If it was informational, if it was entertaining for any reason, like it, comment down below, tell us how right we are about all this stuff.
Like it, or I'm going to throw this at you.
Yeah. And obviously subscribe.
Yes, obviously.
We look at our analytics, and I think something like 85% of our views come from non-subscribers.
Oh, that's not good.
So if you're one of those 85% that are watching this video that aren't subscribed,
you're probably feeling really guilty right now.
What are you waiting? Oh, definitely very guilty.
Yeah, because you're like, oh my god, I'm watching this video.
Yeah.
You're getting our wonderful content, but you're not subscribing.
But you're not
That's
subscribing.
not good.
That's just. I understand the guilt that you're feeling. So that's it for this video. Do what you need to do, and we're gonna do what we need to do, which is head off to Cedar Point soon
and eat.
And eat. So we'll see you guys next time on Beach Cliff Studios.